The Arctic winds howled across the frozen land, carrying a biting cold that cut to the bone. Among the endless white, a polar bear lay trembling, his massive body covered in thousands of crawling bugs. Parasites had overtaken him, eating away at his strength. He whimpered softly, his eyes filled with pain, fear, and exhaustion. For days he had struggled alone, slowly losing the fight for survival. No one expected him to make it, until a team of rescuers arrived, their breath fogging in the frigid air. They moved cautiously, careful not to startle him. Each step on the snow cracked softly under their boots, every movement measured. The bear lifted his head slightly, weak and weary, letting out a faint groan that echoed in the silent wilderness. The rescuers could see the suffering etched on his face, the infection spreading through his fur, and they knew time was running out. Every second counted. Blankets were laid, gloves were put on, and special tools were readied. The team began carefully removing the parasites one by one. Each bug pulled from his thick fur was a tiny victory, but it wasn't easy. The bear flinched, growled, and whimpered as the pain hit him, but he didn't fight back. He seemed to understand they were there to help. The rescuers worked tirelessly, brushing away the insects, treating his wounds, and giving him fluids to restore his strength. Hours passed, and the polar bear began to show signs of life returning to his massive body. Then, as if waking from a nightmare, the bear lifted his head fully. He shook, weak but determined, his eyes locking onto those of the rescuers. In that moment, silence fell over the snow. The connection was palpable, a mix of gratitude, trust, and hope that words could not describe. It was as if the bear was saying, "Thank you. I am alive because of you." The parasites no longer had the power to break him. Courage, love, and human care had tipped the scales. Slowly, step by step, he stood on shaky legs, testing the snow beneath his paws. Every movement was a victory. The rescuers stepped back, giving him space, hearts pounding with relief and awe. The bear took a few more steps, breathing deeply, muscles slowly regaining strength. Then, with one final glance at the team that had saved him, he turned back toward the frozen wilderness, disappearing into the endless white. Stronger, freer, alive. The rescuers watched in silence, knowing they had witnessed something extraordinary. This wasn't just a polar bear saved from death. It was a miracle. It was a reminder that even in the harshest conditions, even when the odds are stacked against life, hope and compassion can make the impossible possible. Nature may be brutal, but humanity's courage can shine through the coldest of nights. The wind blew, carrying the faint sound of his steps fading into the distance. The snow lay untouched again, but the story of this polar bear, of survival against all odds, would remain forever. Millions of parasites, pain, and despair were no match for resilience, care, and a miracle in the snow.